Hi, I'm DJ Rap and welcome to the MTC Music Tech Collective YouTube channel. Today, we're going to talk about EQ8, especially a little trick that I like to use on my drum and bass lines, a 2-notch filter. So here's a bass line. And that's cool, but I'd like to create some dynamic into this actually, so it moves, and we'll use this. And a filter is really a sophisticated EQ. So let's make a 2-notch filter. So I'm going to go to an EQ8. I'm going to right-click it and hit Group and turn it into an audio rack. So it has its own audio rack, expose the macros. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of some of these bands because I don't need all of them. I'm only going to work with 2 bands at this point. So I'm going to push band 2, give it a little gain and boost it. And then I'm going to assign the frequency to macro 1. And I'm then going to name this Freak. So I know what it is, and I'm also going to color it. I'm then going to assign the gain to macro 2 and repeat the process. Okay, now I'm going to push the gain upwards, and you'll see that I have this movement going through from left to right of the spectrum, which is very cool. Next, I'm going to go to band 4, and what I'd like to do is put it on a bell curve. And then the next thing I'm going to do is exactly the same process. So we've selected 4. We now go to the macros and assign the frequency to the same one. So frequency to frequency, gain goes to gain. So now what we have is almost this double thick EQ. But what I want to do is separate them out to create 2 filters, 2 notches. So I'm going to click Map. And on the first one, frequency, I'm going to put this to around, let's try 551, and we want this to be lower, so I'm going to go for about, I don't know, let's just try those 2 there, unmap them. So now they are separate. Last thing I would like to do here is go to my Q and map this to macro 3, which I'm going to call Q, of course, and I want this color, awesome sauce. And that just gives me a tighter shape. And I'm going to repeat the process again with band 4. I'm going to go to Q, select it, and map it to Q. So now I can decide the width as well as the frequencies, as well as the gain up or down. So how does this affect a bass when we're using it? Well, let's listen. This is without. And now I'm going to do it with. You're feeling me, right? Yeah, I know. I love the EQ8. Okay, so there's another thing we can do here just to top this up. I'm going to go into my Max for Live and Max for Live audio. And what I am looking for is my LFO. I call this the lazy man's whipping boy because it just does everything for you, so you don't have to turn any knobs. And then what I want, if I want to, I could just map any one of these parameters like so. Pull the rate down. Of course, if I want to sync it, I hit the frequency knob, and then it'll sync to divisions of time. I'm going to leave it on free. And of course, I can have as many of these as I want, doing as many cool, nasty, dirty, filthy things that I can imagine it doing. So let's map this to the Q. I might want to adjust the mapping of the ranges for this as well. Okay, so that's how you make a two-notch filter. One of my favorite tricks, but here's something that really works great with pads and textures and any kind of like movement where you want things to be a little uneven and messy. So I'm going to go to Music Tech Collective Sounds right here, and I'm just going to drag in a little pad. Let's solo this so you can hear it. And that's going to be perfect for what I want to do, which is create some movement with this. Okay, so it's much similar process. Go to the EQ8. Here we go. Group it again. Turn it into its own audio effect rack. Expose the macros. Now, what makes this so cool is that it operates in a stereo way. So you can get the EQ coming out of both channels, or you can operate them separately, left and right, as well as both. So you can see here, right, that little drop down menu. And another thing I would always suggest is if you right click and go over sampling, that means the highest quality you can get. So you might want to use that always, or have it just set as a preset so that it's always, you get that highest quality of EQ. It is a little CPU heavy though, just slightly. Okay, so let's crack on here. So what I want to do is swap this to left and right mode. So orange is the left. So if you look now, when I start to create, I'm going to make what I call an EQ aquarium here. I'm just going to create some different shapes and just show you the difference between splitting the frequencies. And then if I go to the right and just go the opposite way, what I'm going to get is a really messy, unbalanced, but it's perfect for textures, kind of sweeping movement. So it's very easy. Again, I'm just going to go to the right-hand side here, select frequency, map it to macro 1. That's a frequency, and I'm going to name it. Just because I like to color things, I'm going to do that. All those years in kindergarten weren't wasted with crayons, look. And then what I want to do, now that that is moving, is I want to switch to the right mode, and I like to do the same with this as well. Map this to macro frequency, which is 1 as well. So now they are both moving. And then I'll go back to my Max for Live. Do the same thing here. Map it. Something that will move a little more as well. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this and put this on this one because I think you hear it better. So yeah, hope you enjoyed today's little video. A couple of tricks there for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Much love to you. Love and Bass, DJ Rap.